Hello, beautiful people, beautiful black people. I hope that all is well in your world, and this day was a fantastic day, a very successful day for you and all of your wonderful, wonderful black loved ones. My intelligent black brothers and sisters, usually I do not defend the Constitution. Nevertheless, the Founding Fathers tried to protect us from the threat that they knew, the tyranny that overcame ancient democracies like Rome. Today, our political order faces new threats, not unlike the totalitarian of the 20th century. We are no wiser than the Europeans were then, who saw democracy yield to fascism, to Nazism, or communism. Our one advantage here on this plantation called America is that we might learn from their experiences to stay away from tyranny. Trump is on a path to create tyranny because he aspires to be a tyrant. History does not repeat, but it does instruct. History does not repeat, but it does instruct us. As the Founding Fathers debated our Constitution, they took instructions from the history that they knew, concerned that the democratic republic they envisioned would collapse. They contemplated the descent of ancient democracies and republics into oligarchy and empire. As they knew, Aristotle warned that inequality brought instability, while Plato believed that demagogues exploited free speech like Trump. He's exploited free speech to install themselves as tyrants. Have you noticed how Trump has made war on the truth? Anyone in his administration that comes forward and tell the truth is in trouble. He will either destroy their credibility, he will fire them, and then find a way to silence them or discredit them. In finding a democracy upon law and establishing a system of checks and balances, the Founding Fathers sought to avoid the evil that they, like the ancient philosophers, called tyranny. They had in mind the usurpation and I will say that again. The founding fathers had in mind usurpation of power by a single individual or group, or the circumvention of law by rulers for their own benefit. Doesn't that describe Trump and what he is trying to do? He's trying to become like Putin, the totalitarian ruler over Russia. Much of the succeeding political debate on this plantation called America has concerned the problem of tyranny within the American society over slavery, over women, for example. It is thus a primary American tradition to consider history when our political order seems imperiled. If we worry today that the American experiment is threatened by tyranny, we are correct. We can follow the example of the founding fathers and contemplate the history of other democracies and republics. The good news is that we can draw upon more recent and relevant examples than ancient Greece and Rome. The bad news is that the history of modern democracy is also one of decline and failure. Since the American colonies declared their independence from a British monarchy that the founders seemed tyrannical, European history has seen three major democratic moments. After the First World War in 1918, after the Second World War in 1945, and after the end of communism in 1989. Many of the democracies founded at these junctures failed in circumstances that in some important respect resembles our own today in May of 2020. History can familiarize and it can warn us. In the late 19th century, just as in the late 20th century, the expansion of global trade generated expectations of progress. In the early 20th century, as in the early 21st, these hopes was challenged by new visions of mass politics in which a leader like Trump or a party like the Republican Party claim to directly represent the will of the people. Have you noticed how those fake ass, racist ass, white Republican politicians will frequently state that their party, their platform is representing the American people. European democracies collapse into right-wing wing, authoritarian, and fascism in the 1920s and 1930s. The Communist Soviet Union, established in 1922, extended its model into Europe in the 1940s. The European history of the 20th century shows us that societies can break, democracies can fall, ethics and norms can collapse, and ordinary men like Trump can find themselves standing over death pits with guns in their hands. Trump is standing over death pits right now with ineptitude, ignorance in his hand. That's what I have on this one. I will talk to you again on another one real soon.